The difficulty of dating has gone up astronomically in the past 5 to 10 years. Recently, I came across a video where this is hitting the mainstream. That's right. CNN did a segment dedicated specifically to why boys and young men in our society are in a crisis. There's a study where women 18 to 30, most of them are in relationships. Yet only 30% of the young men in those age ranges are in relationships. What is going on? There's something hidden beyond the eye. I'm going to break down all the factors that contribute to you either not wanting to date or the reasons why you can't get a date. This is troubling. If you guys don't understand the ramifications of the situation that we are in, by the end of this video, you will see just how bad it is. If 60% of women are in relationships, but only 30% of men are, the women are either sharing the men or they're dating each other. It's as simple as that. But why? Why is that? Before we get too far into the video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like the video. Women have entered into the workforce. Feminism has beaten men over the head for being misogynist, for keeping women at home and being quote unquote slaves to the household. So they've allowed women to come into the workforce, which is good and bad for the business owners, because the business owners can pay the women less money than they can the men. A man will go in and negotiate and cause problems potentially. A woman will take her salary and accept it because she doesn't have any reference or ideology when it comes to making money most times. On top of that, when you have affirmative action, when you have all these different types of things going on that allow women to get easier jobs and to allow women to get into education easier, to get more opportunities over men, they're going to get higher paying jobs. So now we have women that are making 80K complaining about they can't find a man, not realizing that her own dating strategy is different than men. Not realizing that since women don't date down, and not understanding that since she's making 80, 90, 100K, she's in the top 20 to 30% of people. She doesn't comprehend that. She just thinks she's going to work just to make a check and surviving, and she thinks she's doing pretty good. And she is doing pretty good. She's doing better than most of the women, and she's doing better than most of the men. And that is the problem. Because women only date up. If she's making 80, 90, 100K, she's not dating a guy that makes 50, 60K. And so women start to blame it on men not being accountable, not realizing that their own ideology is what got them boosted up. Women are being invested in. Men are not being invested in. And some of you women watching this video are saying, well, you're just making excuses. It's not that easy. Men do not walk out the door wanting to be broke. Trust me, to the logical few women out here that are watching this video, we are not trying to be broke. It's offensive to me, honestly, when you say you're not trying hard enough, you're making excuses as if I'm trying to be broke. No man is trying to be broke. Now, you're doing a good job, you're making your good money. Congratulations. But you have to understand where you stand at in the world, in America. You're in the top 30% of people when you make those amounts of money. And you're doing them better than most men. And plus, if you are able to attract a man that makes above you, he has access to all the women. So if you have a guy that makes $250,000 and you make six figures, you make $100,000 a year, why would he settle down with you when he has easy access to multiple women because he has more money? Doesn't make any sense. Now you have egoflation in dating. This is a huge one. And this is one that not many people really understand. This is a subtle one that only the men will understand. Guys, we live in a society now where overweight women, unattractive women are saying the most delusional things ever known to man. You have overweight, unattractive women being arrogant and entitled. Now, why is that happening? The men have gotten so thirsty. The men have gotten so down bad that they will do anything just to have sex with a woman. They'll even date an obese woman. They'll date a subpar looking woman and do all the different things of simping and tricking on those types of women just to get a date, just to get some sex. So the 5 and the 6, the woman that's a 5 and a 6 on the look scale, she thinks she's a 7 or an 8. The 10 thinks she's 11. The 9 thinks she's a 10. The 8 thinks she's a 9. The 7 thinks she's an 8. The inflation has gone up. Not to mention the women that are 8, 9s, and 10s, they either have OnlyFans, they're making online content, 6 figures a month. They have sponsors, they're dating the celebrities. They're out of your reach. So men have realized this, and so they've simply just taken what comes, unfortunately. And this is how you get overweight women and unattractive women being cocky and saying all this stupid stuff on the internet because men ultimately are desperate, which is gonna not only hurt regular men, it's gonna hurt all men, right? Because if you're an attractive guy dating an obese woman, well, back in the day, the obese woman only probably could get an obese guy. But in today's world, she can get an attractive guy. It means what? And in her head, since she had sex with an attractive guy, that's her standard now. There's zero investment into young men today. Absolutely zero. And the more I think about it, the more I think it's on purpose. It has to be on purpose because weak men create hard times. Weak men get conquered in wars. Weak men hurt a society. Weak men cause unrest. You guys want to know why they're saying the gap is getting bigger between the rich and the poor? It's because the middle class is being eliminated. We got to get back to the point to where the average person can get somewhat of a decent job, has access to housing. But instead, nobody wants to acknowledge business. Nobody wants to invest into men, invest into financial literacy, invest into the nuclear family. which stems from all these problems as well. If you're not in the family, you're about 20 more times likely to get into crime, 5 more times to be poor. This has to be an orchestrated plan to suppress men and to get men to be effeminate and weak. And some of you women are right. Some of you women are saying some of these guys don't want to work. You're right. And it's because you've beaten them down. Society has beaten them down. Not you specifically, but society has beaten them down. I mean, guys, think about it. You get told you're a misogynist, sex-craved, violent idiot. You get that taught in school. You get on the TV. You get it on the phone. You get it in movies. You get it on the music. Where can you go to not get bashed as a man? Where? Next, most of the interactions between men and women now are online, either through dating apps, DMs. See, what accelerated this? See, dating apps and everything were already a thing before the poke, the vax. They were already a thing, late 2010s. But since the vax, or since the poke came, and everybody had to stay at home, people just went on the dating apps because they had no other choice. You couldn't go out to meet. And society was already kind of going that way, but when the poke hit, it just accelerated it through the roof. To the fact that now people don't even want to go out to bars anymore. And if people are going to bars, they're not looking to date. They're not approaching. On top of that, you have women calling and humiliating men online, calling them creeps and all types of stuff, which is stopping men from approaching them because they don't want to be seen as a creep. They just want to talk and spit whatever you want to call a game or riz, whatever you want to call it today, to a woman. Just for her to go online, just for her to call the police and get a restraining order, all these different stupid types of things. All these things are a collective that is destroying on purpose the ego and the productivity of men, the middle class. And it's putting women on a pedestal. And if women are being put on a pedestal and men are down here, and you know that their dating strategy is to only date across and above, they have no other choice but to date 20%. When you eliminate the middle class, when you don't invest into the middle class, natural human nature kicks in. When the rich and the poor hits, the 80-20 rule accelerates. We go back to the king times, where the king has a whole harem of 1,000 women, him and his aristocracy, his political affiliates, have all the women. And then you have on top of that, nobody understands what it is to be a man because we've beaten down what it is to be a man. Being violent is evil, even though violence has its place. Being a strong man, standing up for yourself is evil now. Women are overly entitled now, saying the most narcissistic BS stuff ever known to man. It's all over the internet, unless you guys are living under a rock. It's all over the internet. You have women telling other women to wait until they're 30 years old to have children, not realizing that most of their eggs dry up between the ages of 32 and 37. As you get older, your eggs decrease as a woman. It doesn't make any biological sense. But they keep promoting this as if it's logic and as if this is going to have a positive effect on people. And it's not. These things are all a collective of things that is hurting our society. It's going to cause unrest because once men don't get what, once men have a sense of powerlessness, a sense of loneliness, once the women are completely given to the 10%, the 15% of men, it's going to cause wars. It's going to cause violence. And especially since there's no nuclear family, there's no man in the household to regulate the behavior of a young man, he's 5 more times, 20 more times to be more violent, to be more, to go to crime. You guys see the writing on the wall. We have mainstream media talking about it. You see it in your own lives. A lot of you guys are completely invisible to women. You walk down the street, a woman don't even look you in your face. It's as if you're not even there. You go on dating apps, you can't get a swipe. You have men that are enriched or even complaining about these issues. You have divorce laws that are archaic. Everything about this society is screaming unrest, is screaming collapse, is screaming war, civil war, is screaming decline. Are we ever going to figure this out? Is anybody ever going to fix this or try to fix it? Or are we all going to just die in silence? Are we just going to wait for the issues to pile up until it comes to our door? Or are we going to be proactive to do something about it? I don't know what to tell you guys, man. You guys are going to have to orchestrate your strategy and do it pretty soon. Whether it's being a passport bro, whether it's leaving the country completely, living somewhere else full time, whether it's leveling up and doing the best you can and just letting the chips fall where they may. Maybe you have to settle for an overweight woman, an attractive woman. Wherever your strategy is, you better contemplate it and you better select what it is. Because unfortunately, the higher ups do not give a shit about any of this. It doesn't affect them, but it ultimately will affect them once the collapse starts. So that's my video. You guys like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you like the video. I appreciate you guys watching to the end. You guys have a good day, good week. We'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.